You can figure that out.
It's down thermostat.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What could you say?
It's a good idea. That's true. It is your. Like. Forget use good now. I want to give one.
Yeah,
What?
that's
I guess I got the time wrong. All right. Well, see you guys. Thank you.
Resign.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming today. It's great to see you guys here on yet another semester. We're glad to be hosting our first workshop. It's a pretty big one. and we're really excited for so many people to come and be interested in this. So we hope you like it. A couple of words before we start. So first of all, a little bit of plan. So Zeal here is our VP of engineering. She'll be presenting. All of us technical engineers are going to be technical officers slash engineers are going to be assisting you with the workshop because there's going to be a code along. It's not going to be difficult. So if you guys don't have any experience in coding, it's also fine. If you've never built a backend or front end, it's completely fine. We're here for you, and just raise your hand, and we're always here, and we'll always help you out. This is going to be not a difficult project. It's pretty simple, but we think that it covers a lot of things like dynamic web pages, how to build backends, how to build nice dynamic front ends that will help you in your future job for sure, because it covers all of the requests that you need to send to the backend, how to test it, how to expose it to the world. So it's a very interesting set of abilities that you can gain from this. So how we're going to do this? We're going to start with coding along with Zeal. And we're going to share with you on the next slide a link that you can join that leads to Notion. So we're not going to just have the slides up, but we're going to be following the Notion page, which has all of the steps. Why are we doing that? Is because it's nice when people who are a little faster can go ahead and maybe develop a little more, and people who need a little more help and time, we can help out, and they can always go back and see the code. So we don't pressure you to like actually code everything along with us. Then what we're going to do is we're going to have a little break. If you guys know, we are partnering with Perplexity for this event, so we'll have some promo codes. Some of you might be asking, why are we doing promo codes for Perplexity even though we won in the competition for Perplexity? That thing is over from my information. It may be limited, but for sure I know that it doesn't work anymore with your ASU email, like if you just sign up. So we're going to be distributing promo codes. Just a heads up, there are a lot of you here, and that's great, but we do have a limited number of promo codes. So it's kind of a first come, first serve basis. So yeah, it's probably going to be enough, but just in case you guys like really want to get them, we're going to notify you when we're going to start actually showing the link to get them. Okay. So yeah, we're going to code along for like 30 minutes maybe, see where we reach during that time. And then we're going to have a break for pizza, and we'll surface the promo code for Perplexity, so you guys can redeem that in peace while eating. And then we'll resume our workshop. We'll end it, and then if you guys want to stick around and ask us questions about how you can improve this, how can you maybe make this website part of your resume or something else, any other questions that you guys have for us, we're going to be here. And you can stick around and you can develop a little bit with us. We can help you out with, the next steps. So yeah, this is going to be the workshop. I hope you guys have fun. And Zil is going to now take over, and we're going to show the slide. Please see the link on the slide and open it in your browser. It's a short link, and you'll be able to follow along with the Notion.
Let me test it out without the mic. Am I audible, or do I need a mic? Perfect. So, hi everyone. It's almost a full room today, so really excited. I'm Zeal, and today I'll be the one hosting the workshop. And yeah, that's all. I hope you all enjoy it, and let me know if you have any questions. You can just feel free to interrupt it and just ask some. Right. So we are going to be doing a little bit different this time. So we've created a Notion page, which has sort of list of steps that we would be following through, where everybody has their own pace. So hopefully this gives you sort of a starting point and something to fall back on. So if you guys can just type in the link and go there, and a quick show of hands that you're able to access it. All right. Okay. Now, before we start, maybe just help me gauge the room a little bit. So who all are CS majors? Right. And then freshmen, okay, sophomores, right, juniors, and seniors. Okay. And then finally grad students. Okay. So. So let's start with what we have planned out for today. So here is on a brief note what we are supposed to do. So we're going to start with just maybe an introduction to the tools we'll be exploring today, followed by just talking very briefly about what REST APIs are, what CRUD is, just the very basics of it, and then just quickly dive into what we are building today, just a demo of what the final product would look like. And then we will, the actual workshop starts then, where we will start with setting up the development environment, and then I guess playing around with the API. That's what I meant there. And then finally writing the actual code for the backend app that you guys will be building today. Yeah. So let's start with the first part of it. So here are some of the tools that we would be working with today. The first one I see is Project IDX. So Project IDX, it was developed by Google. It's still in, I think, beta testing. And what it essentially does is imagine your VS Code, but in a cloud-hosted setting. So it allows you to share your whole directory with your teammates, and then sort of have all of your projects hosted on the cloud. Along with some other cool additional features where you don't really have to create your Python environments. You can just really share it and stuff. Yeah, so then the coding language that we would be using today is Python, since it's the most easiest and the most beginner friendly. And since it's a backend application, I guess no backend is complete without actually just connecting it with a front end. So we've already created those templates for you, but just to see it in action, that's something that we would integrate it with. So what we would be building our API with, it'll be Fast API. As the name stands, it basically allows you to create APIs, but APIs that respond super fast. Well, first of all, what is an API? It's an application programming interface. I hope I got that right. What it essentially allows you to do is provide an interface where you can sort of have two sides of the application talk to each other. Then we have some API testing tools. One is Swagger and one is Postman. Both of these tools will help you just test your backend endpoints. And yeah, you'll see it later how they do that. That's a bit on that. Okay, so now let's start with what exactly is REST. So I'm taking a guess here that all of you must be familiar with what client is and what server is. Client is essentially the front end that the user interacts with, whereas the server is where actually the logic of the application resides. You can also say that the database that we have also sort of rests there on that layer. And what exactly then is REST API? So REST API basically provides ways. Right. So it's a way to design your API, which would with a strong focus on HTTP methods, and it essentially gives you four. All right, it gives you four major HTTP methods. Well, quickly Google what the full form of HTTP is. Sorry, I forgot that. All right, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Yeah, so what exactly is that? Well, that is a protocol that your any of the requests you make to the web follows. It has some sort of, well, just the way you have some sort of programming rules and all, it to follow some sort of a particular format. in which there's all the details about your request and the response that you get back from the web. Say you go to Wikipedia, you ask it to get some particular page, say the homepage, then the HTTP, there'll be a HTTP request that you send, and then a response that you get back. Here, the response could be just the page that you get back. Yeah, so just a little bit on that. Okay, yeah, so there is basically four sorts of method HTTP requests that you can sort of build out using that REST API tends to follow. One is the GET request. As the name stands, that's the way you would try to get some sort of a response back. So the response here, it could very well just be any number or any data or any pages, files, or any sort of data of any form. Post request. So I don't think it's pretty explanatory here, but what post essentially does is you say, hey, so say for example, you sign up for a website and you try to you enter your email and the password that you want to create. Now and you hit on submit. So now what that would do it will take that as a post request since you want to save that and post that into your database. It will take that and post the information onto the database. What is then delete? Again, self-explanatory. It helps you just delete that point of data, and then put. So put, what essentially it allows you to do is update the data that you had stored. Say for example, you decide to change your username, then that would be a put, since you're not really creating a new entity, but you're just really updating it. So now so REST API that has the HTTP type of request that you want to follow, it will have your URL that you're trying to access, and then the response that you get back would, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a JSON format, but it could be JSON files, essentially any form of data. All right, so sometimes people tend to use these terms sort of interchangeably, so I still wanted to bring it up. So CRUD here stands for create, read, update, delete. And here the difference between REST and CRUD is REST is an architecture style of the HTTP protocol request that you send, whereas CRUD really means the type of operation performed on the database. So not to confuse the two at the same time, but sometimes people use it interchangeably. All right. So far so good. Any questions? I would take that as a no. All right. So to start it off, what are we building today? So let me make sure I have. Bear with me while I figure out where I have stored the.
Two versions of the code, like the starter one that you will be building and the one that we want to show you right now. While we're setting it up, feel free to look through the Notion doc because you have all of the instructions there. So if you want to just go along, yeah, you can wait or you can start ahead. You got it, right?
Yep.
All right, nice. Then the beauty.
Okay, so this is sort of what we are looking to build today. Okay, so we are going to be building a very simple expense tracker where you can take input fields like the amount, the category, the the date field, and then some sort of a description. And then we would be trying to set up a backend endpoint to get total like the total dollar amount of all the expenses, and then a way to view all the expenses. So let me just try to put those details in. I'm a big shopping fan, so maybe shopping, and then I spend 5 on it, and we have the expense, and it should show up over here in all the expenses. And then on clicking on total, it should give you the total of all the expenses you currently have. And then you should also be able to navigate to that particular expenses page to view all of that detail in a more cohesive manner. Yeah, we can test it out with maybe one more. Copy next two, and maybe I did it on the 17. A total, and as expected, it totals it up. So this is the project that we would be try to build today as a code along. All right, so back to the Notion guide. Do you guys have any questions meanwhile? If not, we would start building it out. I'll take that as a no. Okay, so there is two ways that you can go about doing today's project, and there's a preferred way. We would prefer if you could use Google IDX, then you don't really have to worry about installation and everything, since all the template for it, well, there's just a few commands that you'll have to run. But if you do choose to do it on your local device, you can do that too very well. There's steps for both in the guide. However, I'll do it through Google IDX. So if you could please, for starters, to get access to the code, if you could just click on this link right here, what we are building today. So this is our GitHub repo. It has both the starter code as well as the completed code. We've learned from our lessons to not really share the Google IDX link since it crashes. So just an FYI, if you do plan to use it, don't share it with more than 20 people. It still crashes. It's in beta. So there's two channels. One is the starter code and one is complete code. If you can just navigate to this one, this would have all of your files. And now going back to the Notion guide. So a quick show of hands, who would prefer to do it with Google IDX and who would do it with on your local device? So Google IDX, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, so there's a link to Project IDX, or you can just do a simple Google search too. So this should take you to the screen. Trust me on this, Google IDX, the Project IDX is a very good platform. It gives you a lot of ready-to-use templates. Just a quick introduction for the platform. There's a lot of different sorts of web application templates. There's backend templates, there's mobile templates, AI/ML, and basically almost every popular frameworks and tools that you can think of. Now, coming back to the home screen. Okay. So to start off today's workshop, I would want you to click on this thing called import a repo. And it's going to ask you for a few details, the repo URL and the name of your workspace. So just go back to the GitHub link that was provided and copy the HTTPS link to it. You can access it by clicking on code.
Excuse me. Where's the link to that GitHub link?
Okay. So if you go back to the Notion doc, you can find it under what we are going to build today. Were you guys able to open GitHub? So just paste that in here, and then it will choose a name for your workspace. I would just generally take off the Git part. Are you guys with me? Okay, quick show of hands. Yeah, sorry.
Where's the Notion link?
The Notion link, if you just type in asudsc.com/guide, that should take you to. Quick show of hands. Are you guys at this stage? Right, good. So just click on import then. It's gonna take a few seconds to build it up for you. Meanwhile, so who has built web applications before? Few people. Notion doc. If you're doing it on your local device, you would do something similar. Just create a project repo and git clone the GitHub repo. Right. We'll wait a few seconds here just so it boots up for everybody.
After building.
I mean, if you clone it,
Excuse me.
Yeah.
What is the link you gave at the
So if you go to for the Notion doc, asudsc.com/guide. Were you guys able to boot it up? Just maybe a nod or just a few people. Let's wait a few seconds more then. Meanwhile, let us know if you need any help or get stuck at any point. Just quickly come around and help you out. Uh, sure. Because so that is linked through README file. So you can just go back and edit. So just click on edit. So you see there the link is to my GitHub. So you have to later change the
I have to go this separately now.
no. You just have to change the links to it and then save the committed changes. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, create additional project. You can join it after this. Login, sign up.
Actually.
That's cool. Yeah, just sign in and it should. Okay. Alright, then let's move on. Alright, so you can either. Okay, so now we will basically check out to the branch where we have the starter code template. You can do it by going to source control, the three dots, and check out to starter code. Let me do that again. The source control menu from here. Click on the three dots, check out to, and then starter codes. Okay. So what it would do is just get the update your code base with the code that was there on the starter code Git branch. So bear with me while we try to set this the environment up. Trust me, that's the most difficult part about today's today's workshop. So I've put a few of the commands for. Right. Were you guys able to check out? Right. I'll just move forward. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is just to test out if we have the hello world, the very basics of the backend endpoint working. So follow with me to just open the command palette. There's a shortcut for it, Control-Shift-P, or if you're on Mac, Command-Shift-P. And type in web. And go to show web preview. And if it asks to rebuild the environment, allow it to do so.
Has to type in the command tab.
Just type in web, and there will be an option to show web preview or something. It should be the last or the last. You go to the sandwich icon at the top left corner, and go to view and then command palette, or just a simple shortcut Control-Shift-P. It should open your command palette and type in web there, and then click on show web preview. Anybody needs any help? It's not. Sure. Okay, so as expected, it did give some errors. I faced this earlier and I've put some steps for it. So what we would do is first activate the virtual environment, which I think it already did for me. Just to double make sure. Then we'll have to install the requirements and all the dependencies again. Right, so we get a permission error and I've put a command for that to fix the permission errors. Don't worry, I'll walk you all through it again if you missed out. Just make sure it works. So maybe this error helps us explore another feature that IDX has to offer. I'm pretty sure all of you guys would have used ChatGPT. So IDX offers that to Gemini right inside the building environment. So let's try to test that out. Ask it. So we go to the same command palette, chat with Gemini. And maybe just asking it. Okay, so I think the error would be fixed by removing the virtual environment and basically reinstalling it since it was a permission error. Let's try it. Let's see. Okay, so if you are facing some similar issues, obviously you can ask Gemini and it should be able to fix it. If not, I would ask you all to try this thing, which is to remove the virtual environment and then just run sort of this command. I can put it in the Notion doc. Were you all able to do that? Sorry for the. So first try out the Gemini thing because I think it's really cool how it can just interact with your terminal, something new to explore. So could you are so this is your source control. That's where you want to get started. So click on that and click on three dots. Check out your
How much is the cost of
and start. So where it asks you people.
So on a site. Reduce scale and the resolution because they're composed of pixels. Pixels. Yeah, that's all. This is right. Come on, you wanna.
No pressure. You might have just
So, I'll remove the rhythm design. Deactivate them then.
It's like giving different kind of.
So IDX, you know, when it works internally, there's that's why I asked you.
We have a lot of moving parts here, so let's just all have a show of hands so we know who is facing what problems. Let's do first one. Raise your hand if everything is good, if you see what we see, if you're able to see the preview, everything is good on your side. You're catching up with us. Okay, good, good. Good number of people. Nice. Now, people who have an issue with importing the GitHub repository. So IDX is like loading infinitely. You don't see like any of this stuff on the screen. Any of those people. Okay, one. All right. Any people who are facing the web preview errors, you cannot do the web preview. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, a lot of you guys. Is it the error where you don't know where to find web preview, or is it not working after rebuilding? Raise your hand if it's the one where you can't find the web command. You don't know what to do with the web command. Okay. And raise your hand if it's rebuilding, but then you don't see the preview. Gotcha. Thank you. Sorry for asking you to raise your hand so much. This is the best thing I can get to assume. Okay, so in that case, we'll attend to all of you. We just want to not stop everyone else from progressing because I see that a lot of people are actually catching up. So let's do the following thing. Just whenever you see us passing, raise your hand. We'll help you. If you guys are advancing with this and everything is working, you can also do the Notion because all of the steps are there. You can just copy paste instructions. And we're going to make one route just for the index page so you can see at least a little bit of progress. And after that, we'll do a little break with Perplexity and Pizza and everything else. And then, you can code along or talk or reading Perplexity stuff. And then we'll come back to this. Okay. And this will also give us time to help everyone to be on the same page. Okay, so yeah, let's make the first route and then.
Right, and just an FYI, you'll have to reload the Notion page to see the two potential fixes I like. First potential. It's under still errors. Okay, so who is up to date with like who's figured out? Okay. Do you know exactly what we fixed it? Okay. So did anybody try these two commands and still that didn't work? Did you try Gemini asking it how we can fix it? It does some interesting commands and it tries to fix.
Oh, yeah, bro.
I haven't been in the car. I don't know.你这个要你这个东西要成功。
College में
Oh, so maybe the error could be that there is a T missing at the end of the command, as pointed out by one of the officers. So it's a text file, so it should be the extension. It should have the extension .t.
How did you run this?
Okay, and just so we can get to pizza sooner, I'll just explain what's happening here very briefly. So there's a folder for Pi cache that just stores your cache memory. There's an IDX folder. That's how that's where all of the packages and everything are. Basically, that's where you provide the list of dependencies. If you do it locally, you don't really have to set up this file since it wouldn't be required. Then there's a .env file. Okay, so there's a .env folder. That's where your Python's virtual environment is created. So for those of you who don't really understand what virtual environments are, so you don't really want to install all the dependencies across your whole system. So what you do is create a virtual environment which helps you just keep those dependencies installed for just that one instance. There's a very simple command to activate it. It's called it's right here. Source env bin activate to activate it, and then you run it just how you would run any Python code. There's now coming to the folders that we actually need. So there's a folder called models. Since we are tracking the expenses, where is it going to see? Okay, so since you're tracking expenses, we'll have to create sort of a data structures, maybe a class to give it a structure of what all parameters we would want that class to have. For this use case, I've chosen to stuck with ID, amount, category, date, and the description. I guess all of those are pretty explanatory. And the ID would be a unique ID. And I've built it on top of the base model provided by the Pydantic the library.
So.
Okay. So that's what this file does. It just defines a class to give a structure to your expenses. Then there's two HTML code files. There's an expenses detail file, and then an index.html. So these are the files that are on front end, and they have inline CSS. I mean, it's not inline. It's they have a style tag which contains the CSS in the header of with the HTML files. You don't really need to know HTML or CSS for this workshop since it's already provided. But coming to the main file that we're going to be working with here. Okay, so that's going to be our main.py file. So this file is where you would be writing all of your backend code. Here we've just provided some basic imports and then an instance of the fast API server. And then just to make sure that the server is up and running, a basic first get route to the root path, and which should return hello world as expected in the web preview. And what this function essentially does is it starts the server up using ubicorn. Ubicorn basically gives you a way to handle a lot of HTTP requests simultaneously, and does it better than it's built on top of fast APIs, so it helps with that. Yeah, so that's the code, and that's your first basic hello world of today's workshop. Can you take a start? So there's still a lighting. Sure.
All right, I'm just gonna shout. I think it's pizza time, guys. While you're figuring this out, we're gonna stop here. You have the notion if you wanna proceed with this. We're gonna be going around and helping you, but feel free to go there. We're gonna set it up in a sec there, and you will be able to grab a slice and come back to the seats and continue coding. Yeah, let's do like a 2-minute setup. Give us a 2-minute setup.
2 minutes to.
We're gonna shout it out when you can grab it. And then also while we're doing this, let's do perplexity thing, okay? So I'm gonna ask my officers to set up the pizza stuff. So you guys just set it up there, I'll give you the napkins and everything, and I'll give a second to talk about complexity. Okay? Yeah. That's all through the slideshow here.
You have this-
Alright, so I'm gonna say a couple of words about Perplexity Pro, why it's good, why it's important. It's basically the new way to browse the web, the new quote unquote Google. I wouldn't call them the new Google, but they're pretty good. Usually when you need to find some niche information, so you don't have to go like page 5 of Google search, this helps a lot. And I would say when you're at ASU and you need to study for some topic that is a little obnoxious, like, I don't know, some Linux thing, something else, it's really easy to just ask it in the plain language of like, I literally have this course at ASU and I need to know this. And it's gonna give you the results. It's pretty good actually, to ask just in like a normal human language and for it to return some interesting links and results. So the only thing with Perplexity that is not so great is the free plan doesn't give you full access to like your history, your memory, all of your projects and stuff. So you can have like, for example, one project for a course, let's say CSC 360. And you just put everything about JavaFX there, you put all the knowledge there, and you like every stage of development of the product, you're like, okay, I'm gonna make the database now, then I'm gonna do JavaFX application. And like you can just file out those queries and they'll give you all of the tutorials that you need, all of the YouTube videos, all of the cool stuff. So unfortunately, you can't do that without Perplexity Pro, and also you don't get the access to the newest models. So of course, they're all wrapping GPTs, nothing new here, right? But the only thing is that Perplexity Pro gives you access to the better GPTs. So they are even wrapping DeepSeek, the newest model from China. So I don't know if you guys want to give them your data, but if you do, they're pretty good. They're faster than OpenAI. And you also get OpenAI 01, which is like advanced reasoning. So it's for the more sophisticated tasks. That's one thing that Pro offers. The second thing is that you get file upload. So I have a folder in Perplexity that has my Google Drive with all of the ASU stuff. And I just file it out with all of my lectures and materials, and it's the easiest way to like summarize stuff, search additional lecture materials, etc. So Perplexity Pro can really help you. Now, we're gonna go ahead and show the link, which is a pretty short link, so you can easily enter it, and a QR code, which you can also use. It has, I think, around 120 promo codes in there. So I don't think we have 120 people here, so you all should be able to get it. Please register with your ASU email, so asu.edu. They told us that if you don't, then there is like problems with the promo code redemption. So just use your asu.edu. So you go to the website, it opens, it applies promo code, it's gonna say free instead of like $20 per month or something. And you can register with your ASU account. If you already have an account in Perplexity and it's not ASU, log out and create another one with ASU account, with ASU email. If you do have an ASU account, I'm trying to cover all the edge cases. If you do have an account which has ASU email with it, with Perplexity, then try the link, maybe it's gonna work. But yeah, use your .edu email with it. All right, oh, there's more yapping here, we're not gonna talk more. So yeah, just get it. It's PPLX. All right.
You. Hobbit, it says invalid. It says invalid. Are you guys able to access this?
Does it just open Perplexity?
It has like a pop-up on top which says promo code applied. That's what it should have.
I already have Perplexity Pro.
Okay.
Change something on.
Oh, could be that, yeah, could be that. So I guess it's only for people who don't have Perplexity Pro right now. Does the link work for you guys? Any errors, anything? Okay.
It works? Okay, you did not have
Errors,
the
works or not?
right?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I get $10 off my next month.
Yeah.
You typed in that link? Yes. I sit down and get started.
Type that again.
Yeah, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. And there's some text.
If Gita's ready, if you guys wanna grab it, it's going to be there. The right side will be the cheese one and the left side will be the veggie one. Both of them are vegetarian. You can grab one last, just to make sure everybody gets. Thank you so much. If you guys have grabbed the slides, please take a seat now. We still have a bunch of things to go. Same as
If you guys have grabbed the slides, just take back your seats and we'll proceed on with the workshop.
Let's go to the music one, right?
Mind if I? Yeah, I'm just gonna grab my. I have work.
Okay.
Oh, I'd rather. Yes.
Also,
Did you say hi to Brady?
Hey, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's something related. Also, so we finished the movie.
Which day?
I'm like, okay, this is.
Kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's free. Version is limited.
That's nice watching that, buddy.
Just taking.
It's the eight.
Seems company eyes.
Yeah,
It's the 8 billion parameter.
How many?
Oh. Not the one.
I tried that on my labs. I installed the 14 page.
No, I did that. I did that as well.
Why?
But then I.
Ask Ryan if he's done.
So actually, I have.
I would originally watch the movie.
So I was trying to do it.
Okay, I'm going out to dinner.
Yeah.
I'll be back after.
Speak on it.
It was.
Are you headed out?
For dinner, but
Well, we're
nothing good.
Are you?
So that's done. So. If you're secrets that you wanna run it. We have plus. Sort of. Postman, I mean, I'm just gonna do a walk. So. It's pretty. Super cool. No pressure. I mean, you have all of the code of the complete. And then you have the that's why. Software. So I started in 2023 and then.
Let's try.
Okay guys, so I will start yapping again, so we don't waste too much of time. So we have our hello world figured out, and trust me, it's an easier process going forward. The setup is the most difficult of it all. So while we are at it, so we might skip out on Postman today, but the Notion doc has all of those details on it too. So you can refer to it later. we have, but I'm still going to give a little walkthrough of Swaggers. It does a similar job. So if you just type in /docs in the web preview, that's not thing. What I would do is sort of give you a view, give you a way to view all of the routes that you set up. Currently, we just have one route which is getting the route, and what it is doing is just returning a hello world. So if you click on try it out, execute, and as you can see, it would give you a response body and a response headers. If you've taken CSE 365, you would have gone into a lot of details about what response headers are, what like you would have also worked with setting up curl requests. So yeah, but for now our hello world works, and this Swaggers basically provides you a way to view all of your routes and then test each of them individually if you don't want to keep on going to the web preview and doing it from your browser. But Fast API already gives you a Swagger pre-setup. It's super easy to access it. Just type in /docs and you'll have that all set up for you. So that's a nice thing to do. Now is when we will start, I guess, building the backend route. It took way longer than expected. I'm just going to skip through all of these things that I've previously written about, since I think it's pretty explanatory. So first things first, we're going to update the route that we have as the base route, and we're going to now return the index.html file that we had previously set up. So I did mention earlier that you can essentially, return any kind of data you want to return as when somebody uses a GET request. So earlier it was returning a JSON saying hello world, but now we're going to do something a little different and ask it to send you a file. And that's how easy it is to send a file over your GET route. Was supposed to be a code along, but I guess it will have to be a copy paste session now, just so we can go through it all. So yeah, are you guys able to do this? You just set up a GET request to the home route, which would send an HTML file as a response. You guys cool with that? I guess the next route then. Now I think the most intuitive thing is we want to be able to post the expenses, posting it through the details that you entered here. And then the other intuitive thing is to get each of those expenses. Now, there will be two different routes for it. One, to get the expenses at the route /expenses, and the other one to post expenses at post/expenses. So how do we do that? All right, let's start with post. So as you noticed, one thing sort of changed, which is the dot post thing. Since previously we were getting get, we were trying to make a get request and we're using dot get, and now we're going to be using dot post. And we're going to be making that post at /expenses. So when your front end tries to post the information, what it will do is set up the request in a way that, wait, I can actually do it pretty quickly. Right. So this is how you would generally do a post request. I'm not going to go into super much details, but you mentioned the method type, you mentioned the headers and the body. And when, say, the user clicks on a button, that's when you do all of you call that function essentially called add expense. You can go over that file later to understand it better. But for now, we don't really want to test it using the front end. So let's go to the Swagger that Fast API gives us. And as you can see, we will have our new post route up. Let's try it out and see if it does. Ooh, a really cool thing. Since the expected type of the body that we want to send over with, along with the request is of expense model that we just created, the expense class. Swagger will give you the description of what sort of thing is expected right here. Right here. So it will create it for you automatically, so you don't have to type it all every time. And then it also gives you a way to view all of the schemas that exist in your web application on your backend specifically. So let's try this out really quickly. I'm going to keep the same things, maybe change a few things. All right, let's try sending it over and see if the route works. Okay, so we should get the message expense added successfully. Let's see if we got that. Oh, I guess I didn't do it. But maybe let's set up the GET request and see if that would. But you should be able to see the message here if you set it up correctly, which for some reason I haven't. So in a similar fashion, we can set up a GET route to get all the expenses that we currently have. Oh, I see. So I forgot to create the database that I had created. And that's why it was not able to post it. So this is the database that would be using. It's not a database per se, but it's just an in-memory thing, which is just a list of all the expenses that we will keep track of for that particular session. Let's write out and all right. Yeah, that was the issue. So as you can see, that was the message that you expected on creating a post request, and you were able to do that. So what it did was save that expense in the expense database. Now, if you do a GET request, now if you do a GET request to get all the expenses, it will give you all the current expenses that you have in the database. Does that make sense? Just maybe the routes. We can create another one, say execute. Then if we try to get it, we should be able to see two. So that's get post request. If you change it up, you can also use put to update it and then delete to delete it. But we don't really need those route for the features that we're planning to build. Okay, so next functionality we will be working on is called calculating the total expenses. So we'll just set up a route again. which would be a GET request that goes to the route/total. And then it would basically take all the expenses in the expense database that we have and calculate the total amount for it. Save that. So let's see if still create an one or two of expenses and then list out the total route. Okay, so this is how you expect the answer to be. It should, this backend endpoint should return total expenses and what it actually is, which was 150. It's very simple code. If you just try to read through it, it's super easy to understand. And then one final one that we would do is just remember the functionality where you clicked on that expense and it will render that particular page for it. You're using the same template over and over again. You're just changing the text, the paragraph tags that you have in HTML. So let's test that out actually using the UI. Okay. So oh, that's because we forgot to set up the templating instance. So that's a sort of a drawback of IDX. It doesn't really give you the errors super swiftly. Try to add it. Expense, and then it should pop up. So you're dynamically sending that HTML page and finding that expense that has that particular ID. It tries to match from the expenses database and then update those details in the HTML file that you're sending, the expense.detail file. I guess those are all the routes for today. But yeah, sorry it was stretched super long. Thanks for hanging in. Yeah, it was super rushed through, but yeah, let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. Go for it.
Do you guys want to do Postman really quickly? If you
If
just
you
want to
guys
see
want,
how
yeah.
to set it up, I can do that. Okay, so Postman is a tool similar to
Yeah.
I should So Postman is a tool similar to Swagger, but it has obviously some other functionalities like being able to share it with your team members and stuff like that. So Postman is super easy to set up if you do it locally, but since it's hosted out of IDX, you have to generate a token to give access to the URL that you have. So if you all want to follow. Okay. So let's go to the Postman platform first and just log in or sign up. Since I've already logged in, I'm not really sure on the exact steps, but just follow along and see if you guys get stuck. After logging in, if there exists a workspace, just click on that and it should take you to screen like that. If not, just create a workspace. Did you guys create that? Workspace thing? Okay, perfect. So you can create sort of a new project, or you can just do. So here, this is how we can create a new project. So maybe just do that. And then quickly click on the three dots right beside the newly created project and do add request. You can name it anything. Say we want to set up a get route for expenses. Maybe post route for expenses. So after you are up to date with that, we'll need essentially two things. One is the URL that we want to get it from, and then the authorization token. Since if you did it locally, you wouldn't really need authorization. But since you are doing it through IDX, you'll need the authorization token, which is the bearer token. Okay. So how do you get the get link? Go back to your IDX. Click on either the link or the preview thing and just copy it and paste it right here and just remove everything till dev. Oh, dev and a slash. That would be your home route. So you want to keep everything till there. You guys get the URL? Nice. And then go back to your IDX and you need an authorization token. You go to view, just open up your command palette and we'll make sure what. Yeah. So it's called generate access token, and you just want to click on that. And want to just copy that. Make sure you don't share it with anybody because that would give you access to the whole IDX workspace. And then click on authorization, choose bearer token, and paste in the token. And let me test it really quick. Send. Okay, so that did return an HTML document, since that's what we had set up for the home route, to return an HTML file. Okay, were you guys able to get the URL? Okay, and the token? Right, did the send work? Nice. So now you can play around doing get and post requests by just updating the route here. If we had get and post set up for /expenses route, so you can play around basically from here. So as you can see, it does something very similar to Swagger's, but it has some perks over it. Yeah, that's all I guess. Any questions? If not, it'll be end of this workshop. Thank you guys for joining. Sorry it was stretched super long. If you liked it, try looking more into, I guess, full stack development or just backend development, and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy that.